Wow, so it's actually happening. So South Africa has been taking political jabs at America with no response for about the last 20 years. But now everything has shifted because Trump is politically jabbing back. In this video, I'm going to show you a top advocate torching South Africa, dooming South Africa, damning South Africa to hopelessness if we don't do something as Afrikaners flee or are chased away or are leaving South Africa, however you put it. Now, I ask you to please stay to the end because I'm going to give you my biblical reaction and I'm going to make 10 of the most earth-shattering statements I will ever make. And by the end of this video, you either will have a message that you want to spread around to everybody you know, or you're going to have a choice about which way you want to go. So please press like and let's get on and read this article that was published just yesterday. Group of Afrikaners flee South Africa for a new life in the US. And if you remember the video that we showed yesterday, it's up here now. These Afrikaners get to keep their citizenship of South Africa, so at least they get to be voting. Okay, some of the 54 Afrikaners who were set to leave South Africa on Sunday and resettle in the States said they were left with little choice but to choose a new life abroad. So the US government granted refugee status to 54 Afrikaners who claimed to be persecuted in South Africa, but President Ramaphosa, through Magwenya, has taken a hard line against the US, accusing US President of continuing to cause tension among the two countries, and didn't like that he's using the term refugee because now this is an international embarrassment to South Africa to have the term refugee from South Africa, right? In the same way, of course, it's a political retaliation for putting the term genocide on the number one ally of America. So there we go. Trump is playing back. He's saying, I may be white, but if you play politics, I play politics. I ain't falling for white guilt on this one. You jab, I jab. Let's go. You put genocide on my ally, I put refugee on your name. So of course, our presidency is not liking it. Disturbingly, one has to admit that our sovereignty as a country is being grossly undermined and violated by the US. Okay. So by Sunday, 49 of the 54 that had been planning to leave OR Tambo International Airport were waiting for a chartered plane coming from the US. The US sent a plane to come fetch them. They said they were waiting to be vetted and then they'd be allowed to go. Kirsten van der Venter, an unemployed Afrikaner, said that she was waiting to leave as soon as possible. I'm waiting to go because I have nothing in this country. I can't pay for bread. My children are hungry. I have to feed them. I have no work. I don't know if this country will let me leave, she said. So Macy van Donner from the Free State said that she felt she had no choice. I don't want to go anywhere. I don't have to go, but my husband is not happy here, so we've decided to go. We don't know what the future holds, she said. So the US Embassy in South Africa on Sundays said, shh, I ain't saying nothing. You ain't saying nothing, when they were asked to say something. Or how they process these people. However, they have reportedly notified the government that the first batch of Afrikaners will be leaving the country, making good on its offer of refugee status for those seeking to leave. The US Department of Health and Human Services will provide assistance to the Afrikaners, including housing, basic home furnishings, and groceries. So, there we go, South Africa. You now officially have people outside of the country who are formal refugees. That's South Africa. No longer the South Africa of Mandela. South Africa that actually has refugees on their flag, on their name. So Ramaphosa and Trump spoke recently, agreeing to meet to resolve tension. However, the South African government has maintained its hard line against the US, saying that its actions are undermining the country's sovereignty. I don't know how you undermine a country's sovereignty if you didn't come in and take refugees, but if your own citizens apply to another country and then that country says yes, how is that undermining a country's sovereignty? That's like your kids coming to my house and asking for food, and then I give them, and then you say I undermined your home. I didn't call your kids here. I didn't come into your house and take them out. I just showed a pizza and your kids came to my house. So maybe the question you should ask is, how come you got kids that are taking food in the street? If you said that to me. Okay, anyway. So if the spokesperson said, even if there are allegations of discrimination, it is our view that these do not meet the threshold of persecution required under domestic and international refugee law. Yes, but your own citizens are saying something by filling in a form and taking the action to go there. And so, you can say all you like, but you messed up. So anyway, the article goes on, and then they try to make legal statements, but your legal statements don't cancel this. Your people went to another president and said, please look after me because my leader has a permanent vote of no confidence. Oh, it's because they're racist. No, they're adults who lived here for 50 years. So it's not like they got here 2 years ago and then they left. They were happy to be here for their whole lifetimes, and so were their parents, and so were their grandparents, and so were their great-grandparents, and so now to get that person to stand up and go to another president and say, I gotta go, you gotta admit that's a mark on you. It is. So anyway, this has happened, and so now top advocate Ike Kumalo shreds South Africa on this. Please take a listen to him yourself.
They say if the statistics are a true reflection, the number of white people since 1994 is getting smaller and smaller and smaller. And I can tell you, and I know most people saying, hey, you Ike, you love white people, forget that. But I can tell you, in all the African countries where the number of white people has dwindled, or white people have left that country in numbers, that country becomes a whole country. And you check, even here in South Africa, majority of its development was built when white people were in power. The suburbs, the things that we have destroyed, things that we inherited, SOEs, suburbs. You go to Rivonia, it's dying. Sandton is a dying suburb. We chase white people, their schools. And I was also disgusted the other time. I saw in the Afrikaner monument in Pretoria. Darkies going there, forcing their way. Why are Darkies not building their monument? The Dingan's Day monument, somewhere in KZN. Why do we have to impose ourselves onto white? All the time we are chasing. I mean, you check Japan. After the H-bomb, it was destroyed. Nagasaki, Hiroshima. They never marched. They never sang. They never doi. They just said to themselves, never again. And they started working. They never handed petitions. And I know when I talk like this, somebody will tell me about Timbuktu, that black people discovered mathematics, numbers, about Salamanca University in Spain, about Alexander, the black popes. I know that. I've read that long time ago, before there was internet, when we were still using my encyclopedia. Was it encyclopedia? I was a knowledge gangster, like Dr. Khalid Muhammad. We used to read those days, read books. So people now, they want to tell me that, the dark ages, I'm talking the last 700 years, the last 60 years, rather, the last 20 years, the last 30 years, darkies are losing. We are losing. We are forever chasing. But I can tell you, white people are living in South Africa, especially the youth. They're going to Cape Town, and you chase them. Cape Town, even people who chase them in their own countries, go Nigeria, Mozambique, Zimbabwe, they are following them now. And white people are going to Australia, we're chasing them, New Zealand, Canada. The Nigerians are following them in Belgium, Italy. Check what's happening in Italy. The so-called fake refugees, because we lack the sense of pride. And then you're going to come and say, Ike Kumalo hates black people. No. Sometimes we need to look inward as people. We're voting for the very same people who are stealing our future. We celebrate them like celebrities. Ramaphosa. They walk freely in Soweto, like Jesus walking in Jerusalem. They walk like celebrities. And I know Mangeti, they are walking freely. Somebody will misinterpret my statement. They walk freely. Or maybe, what's the term? Like celebrities, rather. They're not worried. They're not bothered. Yeah, it is amazing. But it's a sad reality. All these countries, for the last 60 years, they're blaming the CIA or DRC, built nothing, raping one another, killing one another, and you blame people in Washington. Look at Korea, South Korea. Even North Korea is better than us. In the 60s, we were ahead of China, 70s. But look at China now. In the 80s, we had par with Australia, a developing country. We took over. We don't have trains today. We destroyed the trains. We destroyed the hospitals. Destroyed road infrastructure, drainage system, bridges, they're falling. We haven't progressed, but I can tell you, which is sad, whenever white people leave an African country, that country becomes a home. You can check, even go Haiti, even go Harlem, they leave the city, it becomes a ghetto. And what does it say about us? What's that saying about us? We need to be honest, and look inward. All the suburbs that were built during apartheid. We're chasing them. Parliament, union buildings, hospitals, stadiums. Yeah, it is sad.
Sure. This has got to be the saddest thing I could ever listen to. And many people, especially those who have been brainwashed by Marxists, they are just taught to just start insulting and never answer the question, was anything he said not true? It's true. You can't argue with a single statement he made. You can get angry, but you can't argue. And the only arguments you can come up with is, no, it's because I'm a victim. No, it's because I'm angry. No, it's because my history. Sad. So, we are faced with a choice as a country. Are we going to let this ship sink, or are you going to be part of making history in South Africa? Let me give you my biblical reaction. Everything we are suffering is because of Marxism, neo-Marxism, critical theory, critical race theory, which says everything must be divided between black and white, victim and victimizer, oppressed and oppressor. And everything that the country has been doing has been going through the lens of transformation, which literally says they are oppressed and oppressors. Timothy says, I charge you before God and the Lord Jesus Christ and the elect, that you observe these things without prejudice. Without prejudice. See, if you listen to the language of politicians, comrades, revolutionaries, and fighters, you would swear that the person we were reading who said, I don't have food for my kids, does not exist. Because every white person is prejudged as privileged. Every black person is prejudged as underprivileged. I'm not underprivileged. I'm not disadvantaged in any way whatsoever. I don't want a BE deal. I will not be applying for the transformation fund. I don't want funding from government. Not only do I not want it, I find it insulting. I'm not disadvantaged. Don't you ever prejudge me because of what color my skin is. I'm super advantaged. I'm ultra advantaged. Oh, it's because you grew up with a silver spoon in your mouth. See? The revolutionaries, the fighters, the comrades have so brainwashed our people that if you hear a black person talking like this, you think they got something. No. I got something here. But he says, doing nothing with partiality. South Africa is on the verge of repeating the story we've seen up there, to where all the chiefs of victims, kings of angry infants, are busy now trying to tell us Traore is a super wonderful thing to look up to. How low can your standards get? How pitiful can your vision be? And of course, most of it is built on ignorance. And of course, there are some good things happening, but that thing's going to end in tears if you know anything about how economics work. And besides it going to end in tears, and of course, you are pre-programmed by the Pan-Africanists to say it will be the CIA. No, it's just whatever's happening, there is a mess going somewhere to happen. It never works like that. It's never worked like that in history. So we have a choice as South Africa. I think I want to just make 10 statements and I'm out. It's not justice if your fairness depends on your feelings. treating people differently because of history is not justice. It's just dressed up bitterness. If your justice picks sides, it's not justice. It's just politics in drag. Equality before the law is biblical. But envy dressed as policy is devilish, it's ungodly, it's wicked. This transformation thing is not about lifting people up. It's just twisting and swapping, switching who gets pushed down this time. So revolutionaries have been lying to people because they turn grown citizens into perpetual victims. This is not justice. This is not redress. It's emotional daycare. It's psychological, political crutch. So, dear South Africa, anger is not a strategy. Envy is not economics. And victimhood is not leadership. So, here's what we have. On this video, we spoke about the two types of parties we have in the country: builders and venters. Builders want fairness, but venters want favors. And they wrap it up in righteous language. So, using historical guilt as a policy crutch breeds dependency. And in the end, it leads to famines, not godly justice or real solutions. So, for those of you who think you can still play this black-white, blah, blah, and divide the country up, black-white, and then sometimes, and I guess they say Indian and colored fits within black, blacks in general and Africans in particular. Why do they do that? Because it's Marxism. They have to divide into two. Even when there's four. They blacks, whites, colored, Indians. Those are the major groups in the country. They've got to say blacks in general and Africans in particular, so that coloreds and Indians are just used as non-human fodder to push a Marxist agenda. So if you're going to keep going with this black-white Marxism critical thing that you get from Pan-Africanists, from Comrades, from revolutionaries, here's what happens. And you think in the end, somehow, one can suffer without the other. Don't bother looking for your own elevator, because we all either ride up together or we crash in the basement together. We are in one lift. If you look at the history and the time of South Africa is not a black country. And if you insist that it is, well, let's repeat what all those SH star THOLE countries have accomplished after their independence. But to believers, this is what I'm going to say. No man can serve two masters. He'll either love one or hate the other, or he'll hate the other and disrespect the other. You cannot serve God and Karl Marx. So, thank you very much. A month ago, I was celebrating that we were on 1,000 subscribers. We're on 10,000 a month later and close to 1 million views. So I've got to thank you so much. it's just been grace and your kindness that this channel has become the voice that it is. So let's go on to 100,000 subscribers and let's make history together. And from today onwards, I will not read any comments but subscribers, because the comments are getting too much. But we win. We win this battle in the end. Every now and then, our faith gets shaken, but we win. We win. If you are not going to comment to say something that's on your mind, then at least just type "we win." Otherwise, let me hear from you. What do you think of what Ike said? Advocate Ike Kumalo. Whew, that was heavy.